Okay, guys, this is why America is in a major decline because we have people that literally do not know what top marginal tax rate means. This moron, Massa Munex, says your manipulation of the tax brackets is painfully obvious. I manipulated nothing, brother. You're just an idiot. You've rigged the spreadsheet to fit your narrative by arbitrarily changing the second highest federal tax bracket from 609 to 3 million, then setting anything above 3 million at 90%. Correct. That's what top marginal tax rate means. Sam Cedar said that if it was 90%, like it was in the 50s, uh, taking in account inflation, it would be about $3 million would be the top marginal tax rate. Anything over $3 million and you're taxed at 90%. That's how it works. Looking at the spreadsheet, your first $11,600 is taxed at 10%. I know you understand this, Massa, because this is the easiest part, okay? You get 1160. That's easy. Your next bracket is the difference between these two numbers, okay? Because every dollar over 11,600, so 11,601 is taxed at 12%. That dollar is taxed at 12%. Any dollar over, this is why this says 609,351 plus, because the dollar over 609,350, that dollar is taxed at 37%. So when you say the top marginal tax rates at 3 million at 90%, what you're saying is that every dollar over 3 million is taxed at that 90%. Just like right now, the top marginal tax rate is 609,350 at 37%. Any dollar over that is taxed at 37%. I'm sorry that you do not understand what words mean and that you're an idiot. But you know what? That's fine, because flipping burgers at McDonald's, which is probably your job, you're not making anything close to hitting these tax brackets. So you're fine. You don't have to worry. Stick to your job at McDonald's, be uneducated, and keep voting against your interests. I honestly do not care. So let's change some of these numbers, and I'm going to go through very slowly, okay? Just to show you, just to give you an example, I'm going to set the gross here to a million, okay? Now you're going to see that at 37%, every dollar over 609,350, you're taxed. The tax rate or the tax come out to 139, 138. How do we get this number? Okay, well, right here, I have 1 million minus 609,351. Here's the difference, 390, 649. Now, what we didn't account for in this is the tax deduction here, the federal tax deduction of 14.6. So real quick, I'm going to subtract 14.6, and this now is 376,049, okay? We're going to multiply this by 37%, okay? And we get, look at that, 139, 138, and 13 cents. This is how our taxes are done, Massa. I manipulated nothing. You're just an idiot, okay? Now let's change some of this. Now, this 90%, anything under this is arbitrary. It doesn't matter. We can change all this. We can change this to 60. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter what any of this is, because what we're focused on is the top marginal tax rate, okay? So if we change this, now every dollar over, like what Sam said, is 3 million and $1. Every dollar over this 3 million is taxed at 90%, okay? This we put at 3 million because that, there we go, at 3 million. Now if we put 3 million here, you're not taxed at 90% because you've only made 3 million. There's no dollar over that's taxed at 90. Most of your income, the difference between 243 and 3 million is taxed here at 60, okay? That's how it works, brother. I'm sorry that you are incompetent and not intelligent or don't know basic math and don't know how tax brackets work. That's not my problem. You're confidently in my comments talking about how I'm manipulating shit. I'm manipulating nothing. You're just not smart, okay? Now, if we put this now, actually, hold on. Let's do some more calculations here. So, the difference right here. Let's do 3 million minus 243,725. This difference right here. You're taxed at 60%. This money now, technically, actually, it's taking into account the federal deduction here. So really, we need to minus 14,600. Okay, this amount of money, the difference between here is taxed at 60. Okay, so if we take this, multiply it by 0.6, you get 1645 with $5. It matches. This is how tax brackets work. You don't know what you are talking about. I manipulated nothing. You're just an idiot. Okay? Now, if we change this to 3.5 million, 3.5 million, here you're taxed. Okay? You're taxed. That 500,000 is taxed at 90%. Okay? Let's take out the calculator again because you don't know how any of this works. Okay? We're going to take 500,000 because that's the difference. You know, every dollar over 3 million minus 3 million, so 3.5 minus 3 is 500. Now it is taking into account the federal tax deduction of 14.6. So we're going to minus 14.6 and we get 485,400. Okay, now we're going to multiply that by 90%. And look at that, dude. It matches. This is how taxes work. Okay, this is why after you get your W-2 from your McDonald's job, you have to go to H&R Block or you have to use TurboTax because you're incompetent. You don't know how this shit works, okay? I'm sorry that you think I made a gotcha moment and that it's taxed at 90%. You're just dumb, dude. You are an idiot. And I'm sorry that, like, our education system failed you, brother. I'm sorry. Like, maybe you should have did what I did and took work experience because I learned all this shit in high school. Like, this is, I'm sorry. Like, I did. I've been making spreadsheets like this for my jobs, like, every year because I don't need to use another, like, TurboTax or H&R Block to pay them money to do my taxes. I can do it my fucking self because it's literally 7th grade math, okay? I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I hope this explained enough because I can't dumb it down any further than this. Like, it's not my fault you don't know how this shit works. Like, all right. Yeah, have a good one.